In today's video, we're working with this codfish for our beer battered fish. So I have 2 slabs of this codfish. I'm saving one for the grill, and the one that I'm working with today, I've already cut it into pieces. So here I have some strips, nuggets, and 2 fillets for fish sandwiches. Now I'm going to use this lemon pepper seasoning to coat the fish. A lot of recipes do not call for this step, but I'm using this step, which is a flour coating mix. And this is just going to give a base to the fish before we add that beer batter, because I need that beer batter to stick to the fish. And it will not stick to the fish by itself unless you have some sort of flour on it. So in this bowl, I just have flour, cornstarch, and seafood seasoning. I'm going to add some celery seeds to the flour. If you use Old Bay seasoning or another type of seafood seasoning, you do not need to add the celery seeds. Next, I'm going to add the rest of my seafood seasoning blend. And then I'm going to add some baking powder. Go ahead and give our dry ingredients a good stir just before adding our wet ingredients. We're going to start off by adding the whole can of beer, but we're going to pour half of it now, mix it just a little bit, and then pour the rest of the beer. This is a 12-ounce can of beer, and any beer of choice is fine. I'm going to also add a splash of apple cider vinegar. There's an exact science to all of this. I just know that a beer batter will give you a puffy, bubbly type of crust that is extremely crispy and crunchy. You're going to be looking for a pancake mix consistency in your batter. My batter will be slightly thicker than that, but for your first time trying this recipe, make sure you stick to a looser and thinner type of batter that resembles pancake mix. I have my oil preheating in my cast iron skillet, and now it's time to coat the fish in that coating mix that we made earlier. So here, as you can see, I have that beautiful fish strip, and here is the nugget. And then I have some fish fillets for fish sandwiches. Remember earlier I showed you those different cuts of fish that I created from that one long slab of codfish. Once I dip the fish into the batter, I'm going to use the sides of the bowl to sort of shake off the excess batter just by beating the fish against the wall of the bowl. Now we're not going to drain our fish onto paper towel directly, but we're going to put it on a wire rack with a paper towel underneath it in order for the fish to remain crispy and not get soggy from sitting on paper towel. Earlier, I mentioned to you that I used my coating mix on the fish before adding the beer batter in order to keep that beer batter from spilling off into the oil. If you take a look at this oil, it's pretty clear considering how much batter we're adding to our fish. Usually, when you're making any type of fried item, you'll notice that a lot of the contents tend to collect at the bottom of the skillet. So I'm actually kind of impressed that despite using so much batter, our oil is virtually clear. We can see the work of that beer batter, the beer in particular, along with the vinegar and baking powder, doing its job by creating those little bubbles, the same action that we see when we're making pancakes. When those little bubbles begin to form, that's when it's time to flip. I have just a few pieces of fish left. I'm not going to use the beer batter. I'm just going to use the coating mix that we made earlier. And remember, that's just flour and seasonings and cornstarch. Earlier in the video, I talked about how clear the oil was while we were frying the beer batter, okay? Now with just this flour, you'll notice how a lot of the flour has now sank to the bottom of the skillet and it's pretty much clouded up the oil. So the oil is no longer clear, but now a lot of the sediment is at the bottom of the skillet. Now we're going to go ahead and take our final look at all of the final outcomes of the fish. But first, we must pour some beer.
If you could look into my eyes, you'd see why I am hypnotized. Oh, you get drunk with desire and high from all the things your dirty mind wants. You wanna see what's...
The tartar sauce is not missing in this video. I do not like tartar sauce. So I gave my family an option of some Thousand Island dressing, honey mustard dressing, ketchup, and of course hot sauce, okay? Do what suits your family. If you like tartar sauce, then I'm sure you can find 1,000 or more recipes showing you how to make it, but not in my house. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. And if you're really enjoying it, won't you consider subscribing, sharing, and go ahead and press that like button. Thanks. See you next time.
I hear that groove. I forget about me and you.